Them niggas scared to make that move, we can't relate to that. I roll the dice, shit, if I lose, I'm gon' be shaking back. Cause lessons learned within the loss just elevate the fact that trial and error just the only way, ain't no escaping that. I wake up, hit 100 push-ups, then I'm at my route. Check on my stocks, see how they looking, then I'm sliding out. When you start seeing your progression, you stop having doubts. And what's the point of having clout if you can't cash it out? True to this game, and I'm a lifer, ayy. Feel like we finna change the cycle, ayy. That's the most success, you know we thriving, ayy. That's the most depression for our rivals, ayy. Could teach a lesson on survival, ayy. You know I'm from the bottom.
Welcome back, everybody. Season 4 of the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. We back and we better. Kicking it off, your boy David Bellard, 1/4 of the Black Wealth Renaissance crew. Kicking it in, checking it live in Houston, Texas. H-Town. With my bros, Jalen, Jared, and Kelly. How y'all feeling, brothers?
What's good, everybody? How y'all doing, man?
What's popping, y'all? Man, I'm feeling great, dog. 3 years in this thing, dog. It's been a while, dog.
Hey, man. Season 4 about to go crazy.
Hey, man. I'm telling you, it is crazy. It's like when we started this stuff, who would have thought we'd have came this far, right? Like we was in Jalen Mall back room.
Recording on the phone,
talking on the phone, audio all scratchy with the headphones and stuff like that. Now look at us, we kind of
we done won an award and shit. Like
we got bottles with our name on it and shit.
Been on the stage with Marlon Wayans and shit. Like damn, dog. Like it's been great.
It's looking up. It's looking up. You know, but.
We ain't come here to brag and boast.
We ain't come here to brag and boast. We just was welcoming y'all back, man. It's been a minute. We ain't record since August of 2021. So
the shows kept on rolling, but y'all ain't know. We ain't been working like that. We've been working, but we ain't been working.
It's like the first day of school, man. It feels like the first day of school.
It's been so long since I potted, like, this feels good.
But I ain't gonna lie, like, if you are a podcaster, this is very necessary, dog. Like, sometimes you need to take a break because we was going hard. Like, every weekend, sometimes you gotta realign and get some more inspiration and stuff like that. So I'm really excited, like y'all said.
Yes, sir. And I'm excited, y'all, for our guest today. If you're watching this, you can already see her. If you're listening, you don't know who we talk about, but you about to know because this woman is amazing, right? So today on the podcast, we have Miss Nicole Handy. Miss Nicole is a real estate broker, co-owner of the Braden Real Estate Group, former oil field. What was your position in the oil field?
Some type of engineer.
She was running things. Just know she was running things.
She wasn't no engineer. She was running shit. Like
just know she was running
three
things.
people in the whole world that could do what she was doing.
How you know that?
We do our research.
What you think you said? We don't watch for podcasts to just be BS. But no, Nicole, we are thankful and grateful to have you on the show. Welcome to the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, guys.
Thank you so much.
Really glad to be here.
So one of the ways we just start off every episode is, can you just explain who you are for people who are not familiar with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So he introduced me as a real estate broker. I'm actually not.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not a real estate broker. I'm a Texas realtor.
Okay.
But I've been doing this for 10 years. You know, I'm actually going to take my broker class on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Thank
I
you.
know you're going to pass it. I know you're going to pass
Well,
it.
actually,
You already doing it though, basically.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like I definitely have the credentials to be a broker. What happened though is I was going to take my classes prior to COVID. Then COVID just shut the world down. They canceled my classes, and then I just got busy in the real estate world. So I'm finally circling back to it. But anyway, about me. So Nicole Handy. Who is Nicole Handy? I am a Houston realtor and brokerage co-owner. Right. So myself and my first cousin, we co-own the Braden Real Estate Group. We are a family-owned, women-owned, black-owned business.
Okay.
Let's go.
All three of them. I love it.
Get the claps on the ass, but we got it.
So we started in 2019. I transitioned out of corporate America. Yeah, I had that fancy title. I was working for Shell Oil, the oil company. Okay. But yeah, I had that fancy title. But 2019, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not feeling this anymore. I want to do bigger things, right? I want to have more control over my earning potential. You know, so I transitioned out of corporate America 2020. My first year as a full-time realtor, I sold 51 houses. Yeah, so I mean, I always like been in real estate for 10 years, but it was always my part-time, my side hustle. So my first year as a full-time realtor, I sold 51 houses, and that's kind of how I made a name for myself in the Houston real estate market. A lot of people are like, who is this girl? She's just an overnight success. But what they don't know is I had been selling real estate for 8-9 years prior to that. You know what I'm saying? So the grind has been there. Now I just told everybody what I was doing, you know. So story on Braden Real Estate Group. Braden is my maiden name. My grandparents, Frank and Oscar Braden, they actually don't live too far from here.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they still alive. They gave myself and my cousin, who is the broker of our brokerage, money to go to real estate school.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they say
dope.
this is what y'all should be doing. We need somebody to protect our assets, and go get your license. So we did that. It was only befitting that we name the brokerage Braden Real Estate Group. You know, our slogan is buy, sell, build a legacy. We are very deeply rooted in family, building up, you know, wealth, generational wealth, and everything family related. That's who we are, right? You know, solidifying your legacy, whatever that is, through real estate, trading, whatever it may be, right? So that's how we came about. We are in Houston and Dallas now. Roughly, we have about 55 agents. Started off with me being the breadwinner of the brokerage. You know, me, myself, my cousin, and we had 2 agents that are still with us now, and that has grown from 2019 to 2022 to 55 agents.
Damn.
That's awesome.
That's
crazy.
It's a few things I want to get into that, like, we got to peel back some of these layers.
Exponential growth.
No, that is exponential growth. One of the first things I wanted to get into, as we stated, we did do our research, and I know that your grandparents, they really started off with, gave you guys a leg up. Like you said, they told you to go to get your license, but I know that they were investors as well. So what was that like, learning and seeing that legacy coming up as a child?
You know, as a child, I always saw my parents go to work, right? My dad was a postal worker. My mom is a nurse. My dad's retired. My mom is a nurse. She works at the VA to this day. My grandparents, I never saw them work for anybody. You know, everything they did, every dollar they brought in came from their own businesses through their own works. Right. Okay. So growing up as a child, I was very fond of that. You know, I was intrigued by that. You know, everything they had, I don't even think my grandparents own a credit card. I don't think, they probably don't have credit, you know, no, seriously. I mean, I know they have credit, but everything they have, they've paid cash for, you know, their commercial buildings, you know, any land, any property, you know, they paid cash for it. They even paid cash for my parents' house. When my parents got married and my grandparents financed the property.
Sheesh.
And so my parents, they did a 10-year loan, you know, and my parents basically paid them back 10 years, no interest.
That's generational
you know?
wealth again.
Exactly,
right there.
exactly, right. And so
family banking.
Yeah, and that house that my grandparents bought for them, that they paid them back, they still own that as a rental property to this day, right? But I was intrigued by that. Like I'm like, they don't use credit for anything, you know, like everything they have, they pay cash for. Now, honestly, I don't think like that, you know.
OPM good.
Yeah, OPM, other people's money is what's up, you know, leveraging it. But like to be able to do that, you know what I'm saying? To have the freedom to say, yeah, I want it. I don't have to ask anybody for it. I'm gonna pull it out of my pocket. I don't have to figure out how I'm gonna go get it. You know, like that to me, I'm like, that is financial freedom. You know,
that's some bullshit, right?
Yeah,
Facts. Yeah, just to be able to bankroll the house and then be able to like turn around and do a self mortgage through their own family, like that's crazy. Like, what year was this? Do you know like what year range they was talking about?
Yeah, this was like 1985.
That's unheard of. What nobody doing that? That's crazy. Like,
yeah, I mean, even their own property, the house they still live in to this day. Now, mind you, it was a big house for back in the day when they bought it. In the 70s, 60s, 70s, but they built it from the ground up. And what they did is they got some money, they poured the slab. They got some more money, they built they framed the house. You know what I'm saying? They got some more money, they put the electrical, the plumbing in, all of that. They never had a mortgage, you know? And so the house, you know, they, again, cash. Like, they built their home with their own money, piece by piece. Like, I don't outside of the cars, like, and to be honest, I don't even know if they pay cash for the cars. Like, I mean, I don't even know if they finance the cars. You know, they're not lavish people. They don't live lavish lifestyles. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I honestly don't even know if they ever had car notes. But I know they never had mortgages or, you know, had liens on properties and things like that from borrowing money to gain assets. And they had a lot of them.
So did this start, they started from owning businesses, or like they just started through investing? What was, like, how did they come up like that?
So, you know, I never saw this, but I know from what I understand and what I know, my grandmother was a bus driver and my grandfather worked at the electric company, you know, and apparently somebody passed and left them some money and they did right by it. Yeah.
Once again, there's that legacy part though. And a lot of us don't even have life insurance to do that. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things we do preach is like, at least have some life insurance on you. Set your family up, because that's one of the easiest ways to pass down wealth. Just by having life insurance.
Absolutely.
Everybody got to die.
Absolutely.
It's the easiest way to pass down wealth. You make the payments, they pay out on the policy whenever
It's no excuse not to have life insurance.
Facts.
Yeah. No excuse not to have life insurance. Even if it's just a term policy. You know, you get a term policy young, what you paying, $25 a month?
Yeah.
Like,
So you gotta have something.
Less than $30.
yeah.
Nikki, I did want to get on this because I do think like the example that your grandparents set was super powerful, right? Seeing that they never have to work for nobody, like how did that plant that seed in you whenever you were working this corporate job, right? Because you had climbed the ladder at Shell, you were there 11 years. Many people wouldn't want to leave that position to go and do their own thing.
So to me, it wasn't, it was comfort because I knew I was getting a paycheck every week, but was it really comfort? You get what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I will say this, I'm somebody that gets bored very easy. You know, I call myself, I have like this 5-year itch. Every 5 years, I got to do something different, or I got to, you know, find another job, or, you know, be in a new role or something like that. So I was coming up on that 5 years, but I mean, I can't, again, is it truly comfort to be capped out at your earning potential? You know, to want to have more, want to do more, and you can't because you're confined to this amount of money, you know, and I got to show up and do what they tell me to do every day. And is it truly comfort knowing that tomorrow, if I don't do this, I'm going to be gone? You know, is that truly comfort? You know, if you kind of look at, like, people say, I'm comfortable in corporate America. How truly comfortable are you knowing that the fate of how you feed your family is in the hands of somebody else?
That's right. And you started selling houses while you were working there. So how did you do the work-life balance, doing having a corporate America job, selling houses, and having a husband or
Gotcha. So when I got my license, I was a girlfriend, you know, and having the responsibilities of being a girlfriend versus being a wife and a mom, those are two totally different responsibilities.
I could definitely believe it.
Yeah, it's two totally different responsibilities. So when I first got my license, it was pretty easy, right? Lunchtime, after work, on weekends. One thing about me, y'all, I done did it all. I done bartend, worked this. I would literally, I kid you not, I would get off of work at Shell and walk around the corner to this bar and bartend till 10, 11 o'clock at night.
You just a hustler.
just a hustle.
You know, so I mean, it's not too much I hadn't done work when and I don't mind working. You know,
why would you do it? Because I'm pretty sure they'll pay you well and shit.
Again, like, you know, what is considered well? Back when I started working, what my salary was, and actually this was before Shell. I was working at a consulting firm and Shell was my client, but my salary was $60,500. Okay. And when I graduated in 2008, and to be honest, that was a lot of money for you know,
fresh out of
college, you know,
single person,
that time whenever everything was going crazy with the economy.
Right. But compared to my peers, that was a lot of money, you know. So $60,500. Let me put it into perspective. When I got my paycheck, that kind of equated to $1,400 a pay period, maybe $1,600, right? Yeah. Is that really money? Like, you know what I'm saying? To me, you know, I'm like, is that really money? And, you know, and not trying to downplay anybody that makes that. But when you think about everything that's going on, you have, if you're on your own, right, you have rent, mortgage, you have a car payment, you have a lifestyle, you have your student loans, right? So is that, once you pay all those bills, like, is that really, am I really making anything? So bartending was offsetting some of those extra costs I had. I had a lot of student loans. I have a car note in student loans. Let's just be frank, you know. I do. I'm blessed that I was able to go to college, but I have a car note in student loans. And I'm still paying that car note today, and it's a nice car note in my opinion, you know. Just being frank, it is. It's a nice car note in my opinion. And so because of that, I felt like I was set behind. I stayed at home with my parents till I was 28. I didn't move out the house with my parents till I got married. I bought my first rental property and went back home and lived with my parents, right? But I felt like it's because I was strapped with my income, you know? So I felt like I had to create the comforts, so to speak, of where I wanted to be. One job wasn't just gonna cut it. I've never worked just one job. Never. You know, I've never had relied on one source of income ever.
Having one source of income is too close to having none, as they say.
You 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You know, you 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and that's how I looked at it. So I'm like, hey, gotta make something happen.
Hey,
you know, and nothing is beneath me.
I love it. I love that mentality. Like, even the fact that you mentioned going back home to live with your parents. That's another thing that like a lot of people don't want to do. I know whenever we got out of school,
we moved out there.
Moved out our people's house because like financially it's a smarter move than trying to, you got these student loan payments, you got all these other things, and you're not making that much, right? Coming out of school. Making a smarter move than just trying to be independent, right out the gate. And Nicki, I did want to get into more of like your first experience with real estate. I know you mentioned that your grandma got you and your first cousin y'all licenses. She got y'all into school. But what was your first like dive into real estate?
You know what? It's my very first rental property that I bought. I had I had went to this home buyers workshop and things like that because I wanted to get into real estate. My parents own rental property. My grandparents own rental property. Just looking at them, that's what you're supposed to do, right? You know, like really, that's what you're supposed to do. Own rental property. So
it's a great example to have.
Right? Well, you know, that's what I was just like. That's what you're supposed to do. Like that's what was in my mind. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's how I'm gonna get out of this rat race. And really, to be honest, I was just looking for a rental property to have enough cash flow to pay my student loans. You know, just being honest.
That's real.
Makes sense.
No, real talk. You know, I need to offset these student loans, so I have a lot of them, which is why my child will never have any because what it did to me. But so I found a home. It was only a few years old, but what happened was it was a foreclosure, and you know most foreclosures are beat up.
Around what time was this year wise?
Oh, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 11.
Okay, so it was after the crash.
Yeah, definitely after the crash.
Kind of shaking.
Definitely after the crash. But so I found this house. It was a foreclosure, but this particular foreclosure, the bank had went in and redid everything. Oh. So it was a turnkey. I wanted this property so bad I paid $1,000 over what it was worth.
You doing better than people right now.
We're gonna talk about this real estate market with you too. Yeah.
Really, they had the house listed for $75,000. I offered $76,000, and at the time, you know, you didn't go over asking back then. Right now, it's normal, right? Yeah. But I'm like, I want the property that bad. You know, it's a turnkey rental. All I have to do is get the key and move a tenant in, right? So I bought the property, put a for rent sign in the front yard, and went back home to live with my parents, right? Went back home to live with my parents. 5 years later, a lot had happened in the market. They had built up like this big mixed-use mega complex and all that stuff. I got my tax bill. It was like $60,000 higher. The value had, you know, on the house had.
Oh, I thought that was a tax bill. I was about to say, Jesus Christ.
The value of the property had went up like $60,000-$70,000.
In 5 years, though?
No, in 1 year.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so I'm like, so in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is no longer affordable rental anymore, right? Now this is all of my cash flow is being ate up with taxes. Yeah. And you know, you can go down to the county and protest your taxes, right? But you can't protest no $60,000 decrease in value, right? And honestly, the value was justifiable. I guess I had been getting away with it. So like, yep, time to sell this one. You know, that's what you do, buy low, sell high. I sold a property, made more cash off the sale than I paid for the property. And that right there was like, yes, this is the name of the game. It taught me the law. No, seriously, it taught me the law of appreciation. It taught me about buying in appreciating areas, sitting on them and cashing out. And ever since then, I'm like, real estate is where it's at, because I never got my license to be a realtor. I only wanted my license. I mean, to when I say be a realtor, I never got my
You didn't
license
wanna
to get into selling for other people, right? I only got my license because I wanted to do deals for myself, right? And I'm like, yes, what am I buying next? But really, honestly, that set me up for every other investment and every other thing that I wanted to do, whether it was, having Airbnbs, flipping homes, buying more rentals, whatever it is, that really right there set me up for a lot of things. And to be as young as I was at that time, had that kind of money in my pocket, I'm like, when you've never seen money like that before, you've never had a bank account that has 6 figures in it, and let me tell you this, corporate America would have never had my bank account having 6 figures in it.
You was gonna have to work and invest a long time.
Exactly. Other than my 401k, maybe, down the line, I would have never had a 6-figure bank account just being straight in corporate America. So that's right there. That was my first instance with real estate. And it taught me like, this is where it is, and this is what I should be doing, and this is how I can control my earning potential.
You spoke on buying property in appreciating areas. How do you know that's a good area to buy? Or how do you see that, hey, this is going to be 10 years down the road, this may be a great area to buy in?
Do I just look for the Starbucks? what I'm looking for, the bike lane?
What? You don't look for the Starbucks, but you look for either opportunity for change. Well, so here's my thing. Here's my take on it. One, you look for a lot of opportunity for change, right? But 2, I really say you look around and there's nothing there. And that's the areas that you should be buying in. I always tell my clients to this day, they have a hard time getting past, I'm buying a house and it's nothing but dirt and land over there. I'm like, no, that's opportunity to build.
That's the number one reason I just bought my house.
Exactly.
It's because I noticed there's nothing there. They just started building right there and there's nothing there.
Exactly. And so when you get in before nothing's there, of course, when they continue to build up these communities and things like that, they have to bring in commercial. They have to bring in the infrastructure to support the area. So they have to bring in commercial. They have to bring in retail. They have to bring in grocery stores. They have to bring in gas stations and continue to build more houses, right? That's just building up the value, right? Yeah. So last in actually loses. So I always tell people, well, even if you are buying your primary residence, that is just as much as an investment as a quote unquote investment property. And what people fail to understand, they get so caught up in, I want to have the name investor written across my forehead. Seriously, they get so caught up in that they fail to realize that you can start out with your primary residence and build up your investment portfolio through that.
Nicole, they told me my primary residence is not an asset.
Why not? Does it grow in value?
Rich Dan told me it's not an asset.
Does it grow in value?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Do you have value in it? You have equity in it?
Yes.
Yep.
Equity, in my opinion, is another form of a bank account.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's so many, and I kind of talked about this on another podcast I was on. Millennials and Gen Z, they're getting smarter about how they get their investments, right? A lot of people don't know. Well, some people do know, especially if you listen to me. I talk about it all day long. Use FHA loans, which is only 3.5% down, to get you an investment property. Not only that, get you a multifamily. You can get up to 4 doors using an FHA loan. Furthermore, you can get down payment assistance. You can get your investment property with no money, no down payment. But everybody, like I said, wants to wear the investor hat and get these LLCs and all of this stuff just to say they and pay 20% down on these properties when you can get an investment property for 3.5% down.
Could have kept your cash in your pocket.
Kept your cash.
Absolutely.
And then if you find areas that are new builds, a lot of times they'll help you with your down payment. Like on mine, they helped me with like 7%. They just gave it to me.
Really?
They just gave it to me.
Yeah, there's location-based grant programs that just if you buy in a specific location because they want to increase home ownership rates in these locations, they'll give you free money. Regardless of the location, if you have a certain credit score, you don't make up a certain amount of money, you qualify for a Texas grant program. That's free down payment money. That's free money. Like you can buy
leave free money on the table.
You can buy a duplex, triplex, or quad using an FHA loan and with down payment assistance.
But that makes sense though. Like even with what you were saying earlier, like they have to, if we're developing an area, if we're trying to draw out businesses, we got to draw out people. Like we got to have people that are going to patronize these businesses. Folks is going to go to the gas stations. Folks is going to go to the mixed use commercial business and stuff like that. So that makes sense that they would incentivize people to move out there too. So like you just have to be on the lookout for them types of programs. Yeah. But I did want to ask you about something earlier that you had said that just like, maybe just a peek into your mindset, because you were saying like you can take your primary residence, your first primary residence, turn into an investment, and then like what you did is set you up for like the long run, right?
Absolutely.
Take us to like where you were and what you were dealing with mentally, because you just graduated. I just got a good job. I got my first crib. Everybody know I'm doing good, and then I'm about to go live with my people. So tell us, like, was that hard?
That didn't bother me.
That didn't bother you?
No, and the reason why though is because it's what I saw. That's what my family did. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a little house on Crest Street. When my mother and father, not my mother and father, my grandmother and grandfather, when they moved from Louisiana to here, they bought this little house on Crest Street over there on the north side in Trinity Gardens. And they paid $4,000 for this house. Y'all, when I kid you, this house is still a rental house in the family today. And damn near everybody in my family has lived in this house at some point in time, except for me. No, seriously though, you know, that's what we did. We leveraged our families, whether that's, you know, stay with our, you know, I watched my aunts and stuff, stay with my grandparents until they, you know, saved up money to where they could be comfortably living on their own. Like we just didn't, it wasn't just one of those, you 18, now go and figure it out.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? That's how we were taught. That's how my grandparents taught us. You know, you might have to live uncomfortable or live awkward to be comfortable later on down the life. I'm telling you, everybody in my family has lived in this house on Crest Street, paying my grandparents $200 and $300 rent. You know, you get what I'm saying? And they stayed there. No, my grandparents never kicked anybody out, but my aunt and her husband, when they first got married, before they got like on their feet, they lived there. Shoot, my cousin, who is the broker of our brokerage, hell, that was her mom and dad that lived there. She lived there as a baby. Then when she graduated from college, she went back and lived there. You know, and like I said, paying my grandparents $200 and $300 rent. Mm-hmm. That's how we got ahead. You know, my grandparents upped the rent when she got a little boyfriend and moved them in.
As they should, because she needed to be contributed.
As they should, right?
Facts.
But that's how we were taught. Don't go out and spend all of your money just to have lavish things and then be broke behind the scenes. Stack up, build up your bank account. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself in a comfortable situation, then move on. So I was cool with living with my parents because at the time I didn't have a rent. You know, and I actually quit a job. I mean, I actually did not take a job fresh out of college because it would have put me in a really uncomfortable place financially. It was going to be working at Dow Chemical, which is in Freeport. So that means I would have had to live on the south side just to have a 45-minute commute to work. My parents lived in East Houston. If I would have stayed with my parents and took their job, I would have been driving over an hour and a half to work every day, one way. So that wasn't going to work for me. So in order for me to take that job, that process engineering job, I would have had to get my own place, you know, get my car, you know, pay a car, furniture and everything like that. And again, when you first working, you have a $60,000 salary that equates to what, $3,200 a month.
Yeah.
And you have rent that's $1,800, a car note that's $300-$400. You know, like you have to eat, survive for yourself.
$800.
So, yeah.
How much?
So I quit. I turned the job down because it wouldn't allow me to stay at home with my parents and save up the money.
That's real though. Like, and that's something that a lot of people don't even talk about. Like in general, as far as like those startup costs and those different things that like, if you have those options or you have that option in particular to be able to stay with your people, it can help set you up so much better. It allowed me to buy my first investment property. Had I been living on my own, there's no way I could have did that. Would have took 3 checks on the couch.
Exactly. Right. Would have took 3 checks on the couch. And what people, we get so caught up in like, I have a good job, I make a lot of money. Man, you can make $1 million. You spend $999,000, you still broke.
Yep. Facts.
That part.
Preach.
That part. Really quick, Nicole. You mentioned down payment assistance programs. Where can people go to learn more about those?
So most lenders that have a license in Texas should be able to tell you about those programs. There's some lenders that specialize in them. Some lenders may say they don't do them. Of course, reach out to a realtor. You know, they should be able to guide you along. But you can also go to go to Google like Texas Down Payment Assistance Programs, and you'll be able to find the websites TSHAC. Well, this is the acronyms, but TSHAC, TDH, ACHC. I get them all mixed up in my head, but you can go to those websites as well, and it'll give you a list of lenders that are certified to offer those type of programs as well. So, I mean, the easiest thing to do is Google Texas Down Payment Assistance Programs, and they will come up. The various programs available will come up, and like I said, give you a list of lenders who are certified to do those loans.
Thank you for that.
It was one other little nugget that you dropped too. You said you can go ahead and protest your taxes. I feel like that could save people money. Tell me about that.
Everybody every year should be protesting your taxes, right? Okay. So essentially what that is, every year the county is going to come out and assess the value of your home. The county here to make money. You know what I'm saying? That's how they keep the government going, right? So if you don't agree with the value, you can schedule a hearing to protest that value. Typically, you want to come with some type of justification, why the value isn't what you say it is. It could be the other homes in my neighborhood comparable to mine aren't this value. My house is not the same caliber as these other homes. My house is not in the same condition. These other homes may be totally remodeled. My house is still older, whatever the case may be, or my house is original, whatever the case may be. A lot of times people don't realize this. Sometimes you get at least a little something for the effort, for showing up.
I feel like that knows what to do.
You know what I'm saying? Just for showing up, and there are companies out here too that you can pay to protest your taxes every year on your behalf.
But I feel like that can help, like with people who are going through communities that's being gentrified, and sometimes they just get displaced by the taxes going up. Yeah. So I think that's a really dope little nugget that I heard, and I just was like, "What you mean?" Because I'm not a homeowner yet.
Even if you don't have a real justification, you know what I mean? Like
just
I said,
give it effort.
You probably would get a little something just for your effort, But no, that's a I go back and forth with the gentrification because I see the need for it and I see the value in it.
I definitely see the need for it. Some people hear it as a negative connotation. I just said gentrification as beautification to me.
Absolutely, but I also see to your point to where you have people like my grandparents that's been in their house for 50 years, and they have become accustomed to paying a certain amount, property taxes, value, and things like that. So I can see where it can hurt the people in the community that have been there for so long. And I wish there was something more that our politicians and lawmakers could do to kind of at least grandfather them in, to a certain.
Can you explain this for me, Nicki? With the homestead exemption, doesn't that lock their property taxes, or does it continue to go up?
No, so homestead exemption doesn't lock the property taxes. What it does is give you a discount on your property taxes for your primary residence. So you can only have a homestead exemption on one property at a time, and it has to be your primary residence. Gotcha. That's how that works. Yeah, but it doesn't lock the value. I mean, just naturally, homes appreciate, homes grow in value. So you probably will see your tax assessment increase year over year, right? But that homestead exemption basically just gives you a bit of a discount.
So I used to work for the flip side of what you was talking about. The people, so like you said, they out to make money. They were sending me out to go measure the houses. And you know what I'm saying? Hey, y'all got a pool back there. That's about $30 more on your next tax bill. But saying that to say, I saw a lot of people finesse with that, with the homestead exemption. Like, in the way that they would use it would be like, if they're a family and we own, let's say, 5 acres of land, and you putting, different people move back home, but they having their own space, they might put a mobile home on 1 acre of the land, specifically parcel that out to that family member, get the homestead exemption. Most of your homestead exemptions are going to be like a fixed amount. It's not predicated by the house type or anything like that. So with that being said, the value of the exemption was enough to basically, they didn't have no taxes. Like, the mobile home didn't reach that threshold. The land didn't reach that threshold. So their taxes was basically zero because they got that exemption. So like, just looking into those laws can be worthwhile to like try to finesse you some off of your taxes for real, especially if that's hurting you.
Let me tell y'all something. If you own a lot of property, get you a few cows.
Hey, for real.
Yeah,
Straight up.
his people
For
got
real.
Right
got.
on my lane.
Get you a few cows and get your land zone to agriculture land, and that's the lowest taxes. Look, let me tell you, and the rich folks do it too. Don't let them
Facts.
fool you.
Oh,
The
yeah.
rich
Facts.
folks do it too. If you go look at my man Deion Sanders, I love Deion Sanders. I promise you, I love his show. But he used to have a show that came on, and he was out in Dallas on acres of land, and it was some cows running around his front yard. That was for a reason.
Smart.
You know, that was for a
Agriculture
reason.
tax.
Exactly.
Agriculture in
Exactly.
general, like you can save so much money. Just like they give so many tax breaks for everything associated
Exactly.
with it.
Anything over 4 acres, you can be farmland in Louisiana. I'm trying to tell you.
BWR style.
You better go get that. I'm trying to tell you for real, because I'll never forget. I seen one dude, and you know how you kind of feel like he got some bread. Like I don't know about how much the man got, but we pulled up to his house. He's flying in his like personal, his personal little small plane. He lands, he walks up, or he's like walking up the same long street, because we coming out there to like measure his house and stuff. We about to make them taxes go. And then like we come up to this nice wrought iron gate fence. Like we come up there, and in the back, he got some goats. What you got these goats for? Man, look, you know why he got them goats. So like
I mean, the rich folks do it too.
they be
all
finessing.
the time. They
And then
finesse
he
all
had
the time.
all of that, like his whole strip, his whole airstrip, all of that. That was when I went back and looked at it on the map. Oh, that's agriculture land. Sir, you ain't out there growing shit.
But they know the hacks. You know what I'm saying? That's the key,
Facts.
knowing. You know what I'm saying? They know how to get around it, and we get mad like they ain't paying no taxes. You know, I'm a hardworking citizen. I'm out here busting my butt, but they took the time
To learn.
to
Research.
learn,
And
you
that's
know,
how the
and
wealthy
research
stay
and understand.
wealthy.
Exactly. They don't spend their money. They have a lot of money for a reason, because they don't spend
Wealthy
it, or they
don't like
find
to pay
ways
taxes.
to. Yeah, they don't. But they find ways to decrease their tax liability.
So
I know you wanted,
I want to get into your first full-time year as a realtor,
'Cause that was
because
crazy.
you went crazy, right? I know you laid the groundwork over 10 years, right? You got your license. You started in the field way before. It's not like you were an overnight success. But break it down to us. Like, how was it selling 51 houses in 1 year? And wasn't the total? Don't misquote me on this. I don't want to misquote you. Wasn't it like $15 million in sales?
Yeah, something like that, close to that.
Jesus.
Crazy.
Talk to us about it. Talk to us about that.
Just like a little subtle flex, you know.
Something like that. It was actually 15.5.
Easy 15.
No,
You know, first year stats.
well, I mean, first full time year stats, right? But no, first of all, like I said earlier, I'm not shy to work hard. You know what I'm saying? And like stuff like that does take hard work. But how I kind of got it, right? Because here's the thing, you have to get clients in the door, right? You have to get people in the door. And I tell people this all the time. You solve people's problems, they will come. You know,
Preach.
You solve their problems, they will come. Like, and I tell everybody now, nobody listens to me. Like, we have a ton of realtors in the industry just in general, and that just hop on social media or be like, hey, look at me. I'm cute. I'm this, I'm that. Buy a house from me. It don't work like that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't work like that. You know, honestly, what I started doing, so how I got the people in the door, right? That's the first thing, right? I got the people in the door is by I said I was going to get on every platform I could, right? And it basically be in everybody's household, and basically that's social media, right? That's the quickest way to get there. All that door knocking, driving for dollars, cold calling, not my thing. Just being frank, not my thing, right? And I wanted to be able to touch a lot of people at one time. So I said, I'm going to use social media to do that. Now, what is my strategy to get them to listen to me? So I started hopping on social media, just giving people free information, and it wasn't, hey, look at me. It was, hey, this is how you can get a house with no money down, and I ain't gonna lie, I killed it my first year selling. My average sales price was about $250,000, the $250,000 a house. That was what I was selling. Affordable housing, right? But I will say this. Majority of my clients got a home with no money down. A good portion of my clients got checks back at closing. You know, so my strategy was, and my strategy still is today, even with the $1 million clients, is to get you a house with the least amount of money out of pocket as possible. Everybody else is talking about, look at this pretty house. I'm talking, look, let me keep your money in your pocket. Here's how we're going to do this. We're going to use these grant programs. We're going to use these other incentives to get your closing costs covered, to get your down payment covered. Now you got a house for nothing. You think people ain't going to go tell the next man on the block, I got my $1,000 check back at closing?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them. Hey, y'all gonna fuck with me. Don't fuck with her, dog.
You know, so I mean, honestly, that was at one point in time. I said, "Damn, I'm starting to feel like I'm the down payment assistance realtor." You know, but it was cool. You know what I'm saying? It didn't matter because I got people in the door with very little money out of pocket. You know, and it's strategy. Down payment assistance was just part of the strategy. There's other strategies, you know, associated with other incentives, but you know. I always hopped on and told them how they can get, you know, come to me and I'll tell you how you can get it, right. Number one. But number two, you know, I started telling people what I knew and how to protect themselves, you know, and it wasn't just, hey, get an inspection. It was like, hey, get an inspection because this is what's going on. You know, I put them there. I let them see my value and my worth through my knowledge and my strategies of how I can get you a home for literally very little money out of pocket. You know, and so I still believe in that to this day. You solve people problems, they will come. Even y'all, just being honest, even people high income earners not all of them have cash on hand. You know, let's just say let's just use a $500,000 home, right? Your down payment gonna be 3%. All right, so that's $15,000. All right, your closing cost gonna be another 3%. You need $30,000 just to buy a $500,000 home, right? What if I can get you somebody? What if I had a lender or somebody that can get you no money down on $500,000 home, right?
I'm taking that.
I'm taking it. Just every day. But just think about it. Just think about it. Like I kind of explained earlier, I had a good job, right? But by the time I got paid all my bills, what I had a little bit of money to put in my savings account. People live like that every day. Thanks. You know what I'm saying? People live like that every day. $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. That's just not money that a lot of people have sitting in the bank. And really, it's not because they don't want to. It's because they surviving. You know?
They're just trying to make it.
But they still deserve a nice home. You know what I'm saying? They still deserve to have nice things for their families and put their families in comfortable situations. You know what I'm saying? So that's my angle. Solve people's problems. Get people access to resources that they need the most. And so I've always lived by that. I will continue to live by that. I just told all the realtors my secret. But no, it is what it is.
But
you know?
People lazy. They're not even going to take the song.
Exactly. And that's what you do with it. I got up and I showed up every day and I put my message out there every day. And that's the difference between the good and the great. And a lot of them are scared to do it. You know, especially us women. I don't think I look cute enough to be in front of the camera.
I gotta have my face.
Yeah, right.
My hair done.
I like to. Don't get me wrong. I like to look cute. I like to look nice. I like to get my hair done, do my makeup and things like that. But I will get on camera with no lashes, no makeup, you know, anything, because my message and the value that I bring is more important than any way that I look. People don't buy houses from me because they think I look a certain way. People buy houses from me because of the strategy and the things that I can provide them and the value that I bring to them.
So if I'm a new person, I guess, trying to buy a house, what should I expect to have? I understand no money down to get the house, but at the same time, I do have to furnish it and stuff like that. So what should I budget out to try to buy?
Gotcha. So I always say budget out for the worst case scenario, and then if that don't happen, great, right? You do need money to buy a house. You know, you need real talk. You need money.
Get that out now.
Yeah, let's get that out now.
They're about to get it for free.
It's nice when you don't have to come out of a lot, but you do need money to purchase a home. You know what I'm saying? You need money and credit. You know, you need those two things to purchase a home. But I always say plan for the worst. Worst case scenario, your down payment is going to be 3 to 5%, right? Depending on how you do it. Let's just average out to 3.5%. So so worst case scenario, your down payment is going to be 3.5%. The average closing cost percentage, if you had to put percentage wise to it in Houston, is going to be another 3%, right? That is what you should budget for. Like I said, anything outside of that is great. If we can get you a program, that's great. If we can get you 100% financing, that's great. If you can pull the money out your 401k, that's great, right? But always plan for the worst, because then that way, if you don't have a down payment, that's great. Now you have money to furnish your home. You know, that's now right. You have that cushion for those unexpected maintenance issues that always come up, right? You know, you do. So you do need money to buy a home, and I never put it out there that you don't need money to buy a home. You do need money to buy a home. My goal is to let me help you keep your money in your pocket.
Love it.
I know where I want to go. So, what year was that? Was that 2019 your first year?
2019.
So,
well, no, 2020.
2020.
Yeah,
2020 was
I
your first year?
transitioned out. Yeah, 20. So I was. I got in my groove.
Wait.
You know.
So you did that in the
2019.
pandemic?
Yeah.
And I want to talk about it though. But we all know what was going on in the housing market was on fire. 2020.
Yeah. I mean, I think I did come out in a good time. I mean, I did the work, but I mean, hey, I couldn't have came out, start doing it.
Everybody was trying to get a house.
Yeah. I mean, the interest rates were extremely low. They were under 2%. I mean, historically, they were low before they even went lower, you know? So, yeah.
So what did that look like, seeing that uptick in all the homes? Like, because I know we talked about, you said you put 1,000 over on your house whenever it was like 75, right? I heard of people in Dallas, they put like 10 bands, 50 bands,
30.
60 bands over.
Waiving
it's people
inspections.
people coming from California, they cashing out on their little ass houses,
Yeah.
and they like, I want it, like, give me that. So what was that like, seeing this type of environment in 2020?
It was kind of, for me, it was like adrenaline rush, right? Because I'm always like, how can I make this happen, right? And nobody else can. What is my strategy? I promise you, I live by a strategy in life. Like it's always, what is my strategy? And so for me, it was like, how can I make sure my clients get it? But it was for realtors, experienced realtors, I think that was kind of the play, right? Like, we got this. We know what we're doing. For new realtors, I honestly felt bad for them. Because not only you coming into one of the most aggressive markets I have ever seen, right? And if you trying to get over that learning curve in this market, you're gonna get ate alive. Just being frank, you know what I'm saying? But let's talk about the consumer. So the buyers, you know what I'm saying? That was it could be heartbreaking to watch, because you had a lot of buyers that were getting discouraged. They were offer after offer after offer after offer, and nothing was shaking for them. I mean, to be honest, asking wasn't good enough. A lot of people didn't want to accept FHA loans because they had a mandatory clause associated with the appraisals. So you're like, dang, I got the credit, I have the income, I have my down payment, and I still can't get a house.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was a lot of mindset shifting for my clients as well. And it's like, hey, you might not get your dream home, and I want you to know that's okay, because you can never go wrong with owning an appreciating asset. And let's use this home to get you your dream home. Think like with an investment mindset. You're not buying a house, you're buying an investment to set you up for your future. And when I start having those conversations, it became easier to work with the clients, because number one, what had happened was the market had started going up so fast. People wanted this, but they really could afford this. And so when we had those conversations, like, get what you can afford to get your investment, and then use that investment to get you this. When we start having those conversations, then it kind of changed a lot for me, my interaction with my clients, and just the whole dynamic. But I mean, it's tough times, y'all. It's real estate is dog eat dog, and y'all know that, especially from the investment side. I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't cut out for the investment world, which is why I went over to the market. Just being frank, I wasn't. It's a lot that I saw, and I just wasn't one of those women that can just sell my soul, to get a house under contract. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? To be the winning person of an investment property. So left that alone. But I think a lot of it is mindset shift. You get people to change their mindset about the way that they see things, and then it becomes easier, or it's not as a difficult conversation, and they still feel as if they came out on top.
I could definitely kind of speak to that, because that actually happened to me. When I was originally looking for my house, I thought I was originally going to get a duplex. Well, they wouldn't let me do an FHA loan on it. So that happened. I was like, man, like you said, it's discouraging, because it's like, man, I got the money, I got the credit, I got everything I need, but they just wouldn't let me do an FHA, and I wasn't going to do a conventional loan. So I'm saying I wasn't going to lock up my cash like that. But I happened to just find another deal. But that, like, just saying, I can speak to that discouraging mindset, and that I seen so many people go through that during 2020 and 2021.
And it's another thing I want to get into.
I actually wanted to hop into the brokerage, so
that's what I was going. That's what I was going. That's what I was going
to
with.
get into the brokerage, man, because that was another thing about your story, Nicki, that just stood out to me so much. Y'all started with just you and your cousin.
And two other agents.
And two other agents. So it was 4 people starting out all together. Now y'all are at over 55 agents in just under 2 years, 2.5 years?
Mm-hmm. We started October 2019.
October 2019 to January 2022. How do you grow to 55 agents so fast?
Being an example.
That's a powerful answer.
You know what I'm saying? Being an example. And let me say this. We started out as realtors that created a brokerage. We didn't start off as business owners. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of growing and learning to get to the point of where we are now. You know what I'm saying? But we there. You know, we there. You will in business. You will always have some things to overcome. You know, you will always have some learnings. You'll always have process improvements and things like that. Right? You'll always have something new that needs to be implemented. But being for a lot of us, we got our visibility. People noticed us through setting examples. You know, just being frank, you know, the Braden Real Estate Group, we don't take the Braden name lightly. It's our family name. You know, so when you do something derogatory, this and that, it's not just you doing something to the Braden Real Estate Group. It's you doing something to the Braden family. You know what I'm saying? So we don't take it lightly. One thing, just being frank, our presence, you know, our brand, representation, you know, in the higher end market. And I'm saying,
if you go on their website, y'all, you will see, because y'all focus on luxury and new development, correct?
So we sell everything. You know? We sell everything. A lot of people say that our brand looks luxurious, though.
It does.
You know,
and all these beautiful black faces. I was on the website scrolling for days. I was like, yo, it just keep going.
No, we sell everything. You know, we sell in all price points. But again, you know, when you look at what the quote unquote or what other people see as the black brokerage, you know, there's a lack of certain things, and we did not want to be that brokerage that was also quote unquote lacking. You know, we wanted to. Okay, let me back up. When you see black businesses in general, and let's just have a candid conversation, right? When you see black businesses in general, you know, a lot of times it's, that's a black-owned business, right? And so what is the stereotype for black-owned business? You could take a little mediocre service, you know, that
they ain't gonna be on time.
They ain't gonna be on time. You know, they're not gonna be on time and things like that. So we
Probably
want to,
overpriced.
yeah. And, you know, they don't care about feedback and all that stuff. We want to change the narrative of that. You know, that's important to us. You can still come to our black-owned business and get good quality customer service. You dealing with people that's going to be on time. You dealing with people that care how they present themselves. You dealing with people that care about the knowledge and being a market expert, you know, and having expertise. You know, so and again, that is what we hold near and dear to our hearts, because this is not just the Braden Real Estate Group. This is the Braden Family Real Estate Group. You know what I'm saying? And so, setting that example, being that example, we think that is what has attracted, you know, other agents to our brokerage. Now, just being frank, that was the first part, right? Now, how do we get over the curve of our offering? You know, we got, you know, other realtors look for something, right? They look for something of value. To join your brokerage, you have to have something of value to give to them, right? So brokers are every block, every corner, right? So that's where we learned, like I said, we were realtors and not business owners, and we had to shift that to be business owners that add value to the people that work with you. And I always say people that work with you. I would never say people that work for you. You know, but the people that work with you, how do you consistently add value to them? And so that's what we learned that we had to do, right? In order to bring in agents, we have a very robust new agent training program. that we just implemented. It's a 12-week program. We have a new agent advisor that is hands down in the trenches with these agents every day. It's a full every day, but they meet twice a week, but it's a full curriculum. And the feedback we've got from it has actually been overwhelming. We've had some new agents come from other brokerages, like the big box ones, and be like, I didn't know, I never got this at my other brokerage. You know what I'm saying? So again, that kind of goes back to my mindset, lead with value. Always have something of value. And I'll be honest, I feel like our brand is something of value. Our brand, and who we are, kind of speaks for itself too. But, we will continue to grow because we're always looking for ways to bring value to the people that work with us.
And you said you expanded into the Dallas area?
Yes.
How did that happen?
You know what? There was a Dallas agent that I used to work, refer my deals to. And she's our Dallas manager now, but at the time she was an agent that I would refer my deals to. And one day she came to us and she said, I like what y'all doing. I think y'all onto something great. Do you have franchise opportunities? And we like, we don't. No, we don't. We hadn't built it out to anything like that. We the Braden real estate group. So we like, no, we don't. But then we're like, we got an office in Dallas. We can expand our reach to Dallas. And so that's how that came about. So. The agent that was looking for franchise opportunities is now our Dallas office manager.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool. Basically we were kind of approached with the, hey, do you have opportunities how can I be a part of this, right? Yeah, and so, I hope to have franchise opportunities one day.
So can we talk about this on camera? I know off camera you had mentioned the workings of potentially getting y'all.
No, we cannot talk about that.
We can't. Damn. You don't want us to break the story. After that,
no.
Braden group going crazy. It's going Braden real estate group all over.
It is gonna go crazy though, dog. Like just from what y'all got, it's very, very amazing. I love seeing what y'all got going.
Thank you.
And that's really cool too. That like even you took that approach with it as far as with the value with the agents, because I've heard that to be like a common agent complaint. Like I went through training, my license, and that taught me how to not go to jail or do anything illegal, but nobody actually taught me how to sell my real estate, how to get leads, how to do stuff like that. So
how
that
do you
makes
have
sense.
The conversation? Some people don't even know how to have the conversation to ask the qualifying questions to see if this is a legitimate client. What are their immediate needs and wants? How do I, like a lot of people don't even know how to do that, And so it's that low level of detail that we get into because it's necessary. And it's frankly because, I'm a realtor. I taught myself, I see the value. I have a coach now. So me, Jermisha and I, my cousin, the broker, we have a coach. We meet every 2 weeks with our coach. We go through a full curriculum and everything. I wish I would have understood or recognized the value of coaching, mentorship, and training early on in life. I would be a multi-millionaire had I did.
And so I hear that a lot. So like, what's that difference? Because you are already a go-getter. So it's like, what's that additional added level of that like mentorship or like that extra person? Like, what does that help?
So for me, it's learning from other people. Like I know how to be a doggone good realtor. I did not know how to be a good brokerage owner. There is a difference, right? And so we get coaching on brokerage ownership. That's our coaching, and just like I said, learning from people that have done this. Not wasting time trying to figure it out. And that's what we realized we did early on. We wasted a lot of time trying to figure it out when a lot of people already have the sauce. If you pay for it, it's not for free. It's
sold, not told.
It's sold, exactly. It's sold, not told. They have it. If you pay for it. And so we spend a grip on our coaching, but we see the necessity of it, and it has helped us grow our business tremendously. It helped us from just being being a non-profitable brokerage to a profitable brokerage. And so had we not invested in it, we probably would still be on the other side of the table.
Right. That's real. Yeah, I think I heard you say this on Alex and Marlon's podcast. Shout out to Alex and Marlon, by the way. They actually helped us put this.
Shout out to Money Monopolizers.
Shout out to Money Monopolizers. You said like people were willing to drop a small car note on college. Like you'll drop a small car note on college, and
No, you'll buy a car.
Yeah, facts.
That is big facts.
You'll buy a nice luxury car.
Yep.
Facts.
And you'll leave there with no guarantee of a job, no guarantee of like being in a better position than you were when you came.
A lot of student loan debt.
A lot of student loan debt versus, like you said, you invest into a mentor, a coach who's actually doing what they're teaching you how, versus being a professor that's just talking about the shit that the people are actually doing. So like it just makes perfect sense when you think about it to learn from people that already doing what they do.
It's not rocket science. 9 out of 10 of the things you want to do in life, somebody has already done.
Yep.
You know, unless you Elon Musk or somebody like that, you know, somebody
people still build rockets.
Exactly right. Somebody has already done it. It's just a matter of what it's going to cost you to get the information.
That's a fact.
And that could be money or time. You know,
True.
One of my favorite quotes: "It pays to know how to purchase knowledge."
absolutely.
It definitely does.
Indeed. Well, Nicki,
This
this has been an amazing episode. I do have one last question for us to wrap. Before we wrap, what is a personal finance tip or principle you would like to share with the audience? Like something that you live by.
Personal finance tip or principle. So personal finance, get life insurance. I live by that. And see, people don't understand how to leverage life insurance. You know,
Talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
I know we pressed for time. No, but people don't know how to leverage, long-term life insurance or the permanent life insurance as another form of a savings account, right? We just
Talk about it.
It costs too much.
You say it's a scam. And
It's
all
a
this and all
scam.
this.
It costs too much.
and invest the difference.
Yeah, get term and invest different. But I mean, get life insurance. Like the worst thing you can do is die without a will or life insurance.
Facts.
Facts.
Because then all your assets end up in probate court.
Assets sit up in probate court. You leave your family with a lot of debt and heartache. I mean, I have some family friends that own a funeral home. Y'all know it costs $5,000 just to dig your dirt, just to dig the hole.
That's crazy.
Just to dig the hole. And I mean, what it cost? $15,000 to bury you. $15,000 for give them get the life insurance. Let them take $15,000 and bury you, and let them take that other half, that other big chunk, and invest it. Set their children up for the future. Like whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like it don't cost nothing.
Really?
Like it doesn't cost anything. So that's my one financial tip is invest in life insurance, but also learn how to leverage it for other things than just life insurance, if that makes sense.
I know one that I got from you that I just like. I feel the need, like it's in me to highlight that I heard from you was like, don't let the 60K in that instance stop you from the 6 figures.
Absolutely.
Because like you articulated something that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about on a regular basis, where it's like you have that salary and you making a good salary, but like once you really break it down numerically and get down to how much you make in a month, like how long would it take you to save up your full year salary?
Absolutely.
Like and even being reasonable, you know what I'm saying? Factoring in, a tire bus. Factoring in like, I had to buy this or I needed to buy that. Like once you factor in those types of things, like I've never heard anybody articulate it like that, because a lot of people do get hung up on that. Like they do get hung up on that almost not even the false sense of security, but the fact of like, well, shoot, I know I can pay all my bills. I know I can save this amount. I know I can do this. But
until something happens, until you break your leg.
That's real though.
Yeah, that's true. Until something happens, and that's the worst feeling. That's how I always felt. I can pay my bills and I can do this. Well, I never wanted to feel like that. I've never wanted to feel like I pay my bills and I could do this until something happens. But what if this happened? Now all my savings is gone. Invest in disability, like invest in the various insurance, invest in income protection. It's a lot of people with a lot of money out here, but as soon as something happened and they get hit with that $300,000 chemotherapy cancer bill, they dead. You know what I'm saying?
Let you had to go to the ambulance one time.
Exactly. Invest in your income protection. Put money, pay long-term disability, life insurance. Invest in those things. Invest in those things, because it's not a matter of if you gonna need it, it's when do you need it.
Oh, I like that. It's a powerful way to end now.
Yeah. So, Nicki, we have to ask, how can the people find you on social media? If they want to
buy a house,
if they want to buy a house, how they get
join the Realtor,
exactly,
like the brokerage,
Okay.
all of it.
Yeah, no,
Where
absolutely.
do I find my new realtor at? Because I need some help buying a house.
So my social media platforms, my name on Instagram is at Mrs. MRSNIKHI Handy. Also, you can look me up as Nicole Handy Realtor on Facebook. I do have a YouTube page. It doesn't have a lot of videos on it, but it has all my contact information on it. It's called Living in Houston. Also, to learn more information about my brokerage, you can go to www.bradenregroup.com or just simply Google Braden Real Estate Group. Interested in joining Braden Real Estate Group? There's a nice button on there that says, there's a nice careers button on there. Click that, drop us your information, fill out the application, and we will get back to you. All of my contact information is all over my social media. Just click the contact button. You can find me.
Awesome.
amazing. Well, Nicole, this has been an amazing episode. Yeah. I'm so glad that we got to get this together.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank y'all for having me.
You let us get nosy into your life and learn some great things about real estate. This has been an awesome episode.
Thank you.
Awesome. Really quick before we hop out, we're going to hop into a couple house cleaning items. As always, thank you for listening to the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. Y'all know we love and appreciate y'all. Jalen, Jared, Kelly, what y'all got for them?
Man, I just want y'all to keep on rocking with us. Y'all check out our digital products. Y'all check out the BWR Academy, where you can get weekly classes, you can get accountability, you can get budgeting, and you can learn different business and investing tactics. So y'all join that. BWRacademy.com. That's where you should go to.
I was just say, cop the investing course, man. We've got plenty of digital real estate, digital courses for you, whether it's personal finance, whether it's buying stocks, whether it's crypto, everything. So go ahead and just cop that.
Well, I just want to give a major shout out, number one, to one of our sponsors, our water sponsor, Aspire Pure. I also want to formally open, the floor and let people know that our podcast is going to be taking on sponsors. So if you would like to be a sponsor on the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast, if you feel like your product, your service, your whatever would fit for the audience and the dope conversations that we have, please check out the information in the show notes. There's going to be a link there for you to go ahead and submit your information as well, so we can get back to you and get in contact about those sponsorships. So be sure to reach out. All right.
Sure. Last thing, y'all, make sure y'all leave us that 5-star rating and review. It helps us continue to grow the show and help people find this great message. And on that note, this is Black Wealth Renaissance signing out.
See how they look. Your progression, you stop having doubts. And what's the point of having clout if you can't cash it out?